And Bob came out and I tried every one of 70 bottles. I was half cut.
You would think so.
Oh, I was giggling like an idiot. Started to question him, these wines, do they actually age? I had them now for 8 or 9 years. A lot of them are falling over. I'm not mentioning brands, I'm not mentioning regions. Certain areas that are warmer and made of mozza out of making these big, luscious, layered, chocolatey products. All of a sudden they go, hang on, this wine's off. This wine's out of whack. And winemakers have made enemies in the past by being bad payers. I think they get caught up with the whole thing and they think, well, hang on, I've got to pay these great payments. And a lot of guys, I think, really, let me say this, a lot of great growers don't share the same passion that winemakers have. Yeah, they're all about getting paid, putting food on the table with their family. And many love wine, but most of them love money, or they love money coming regularly. And I think a lot of winemakers forget that.
I was going to ask, what's the riskiest business decision you made that's actually paid off?
Riskiest?
Kevin Mitchell hails from a long line of viticulturalists, and his father, Mort Mitchell, has been a defining influence, planting and tending to vineyards, including the famed Mort's block, for over 50 years. Kevin's fascination with wine is a result of years spent playing and eventually working in these vineyards alongside his father. In 1997, Kevin started Kilikanoon Wines in the Clare Valley, making some exquisite wines, including Mort's block Watervale Riesling. What followed was an avalanche of awards, along with local and international recognition. Then the inevitable knock on the door as major international wine company made an offer he couldn't refuse. The rest of the story will come from the man himself. Kevin Mitchell, welcome to Tales from the Top.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
Great. Lovely. Now, I want to get straight into the big question. So what were your motivations, firstly, for starting the business? And then what made you sell it?
Well, that's a very good question. Look, I mean, I guess initial motivations were a bit dodgy because I actually joined the bank as a bank teller. I was actually a banker. I finished my trick and joined the Commonwealth Bank, would you believe, on the Nord Parade there. And the boss and I didn't get on. I didn't like the guy. He didn't like me. He was a very short guy. He'd been there 20 years, this guy. And I sort of wondered whether if he'd been a lovely guy and I got on, I could be in the bank today. But that was just
thank goodness
a sliding doors moment where
we
didn't get on. The probation period came up and I said, look, I'm getting out before he pushes me out. So I left.
Yeah.
And then I killed a year as a dispatch clerk in a mag wheel factory just to get a job. Yep. And funnily enough, that was double the wage the bank was paying me. Who would have thought? That's just how the bank back then was.
So ROH or RH wheels or one of those?
Very simple. It was actually Mullins wheels.
Oh, Mullins, right. Yep.
Who then moved from the city out to Saltry. And I thought, this is silly, I'm driving now. So that a bit of a kibosh on that. So I then looked around and went to uni. Got into Rosalie College. It was then Uni took it over. And I did the next science degree, starting back in 1988.
There's quite a few that went through that time. We've had, 3 now, I think, that have went through at a similar period.
Yeah. Yep, I would have definitely. A great place to study. Lots of social time there. Made a lot of mates there. But funnily enough, most mates I had there were wine students, or they were called back then plonkies. And so I started doing a lot of subjects in my course from the wine course, sort of making it fit. I returned to come back to Uni at that point, taken over, and then I did a grad dip in wine tech, which is basically the wine course distilled down to 18 months. So I finished that in I think about 1994, I think it was. So probably, I guess a bit of fate was involved. I mean, I met people for one that I sort of found myself in tune with. I love the whole plonky culture. Probably the alcohol was pretty good as well. Lots of fun there. Women seem to like hanging out with winemakers. I guess, I don't know why it was. It was just a real thing they loved. I think we seemed a bit quirky, a little bit offbeat. Yeah. Dressed differently and just that sort of different stuff going on. I guess that real sort of art collective.
The artist who is actually likely to make money.
Sorry?
The artist who is actually likely to make money is more likely to be the winemaker than the painter.
Possibly. But I remember stepping into the first wine lecture of the first week of the course that I came back to, and a very renowned lecturer, a guy called Dr. Andrew Marquettes, he taught a lot of subjects at Uni, very smart guy, very learned guy. He said, all of you, or most of you, will wish that you'd studied accountancy rather than winemaking if you leave this place. And how true that was.
It was true?
Oh, 100% true. I mean, there were those that picked up, but most guys, God, how many guys ran their own winery today? Not many, really. Some have done very well. Many have disappeared. Many work as cellar hands. Many have retired. Many have changed careers entirely. the wine game's up and down is notorious for being cyclic.
Yeah.
And so, what was great back in 1998 may be terrible in 1997. So it can be quite sharp in turning too. So, I'm old enough to have seen a few of those upturns and downturns along the journey. So,
What do you think of the current downturn? Is it a concern, or is it just another wave?
Oh, good question. I think the ones that are doing well in this climate are those that have a very strong direct-to-consumer model in their business. If you've got a good web-based sale thing going, you're probably doing okay. If you manage to keep your margins intact, you're probably doing all right. But yeah, if you're relying heavily on just trade through distribution through the old model, where you're getting paid in 100 days in many cases, if not longer, where price is becoming more and more of the piece that makes the puzzle work. And it's sad to me. I mean, I think wines have been dumbed down a bit because of that very fact. The economy is driving it. Of course, there are brands that are doing very well, and the Hinchkeys of the world. They've been, but again, they've got longevity in the side. They've got 5-6 generations of winemaking under their belt, which means a lot when things tighten up. That's for sure.
So, do you think it's a cultural or is it a financial issue that's happening?
Well, it's probably both. I mean, I think culture probably leads, but at the end of the day, financial matters matter. So if you can't pay bills on time, you're going to come unstuck. And winemakers have made enemies in the past by being bad payers. I think they get caught up with the whole thing, and they think, well, hang on, I've got to pay these great payments. And a lot of guys, I think, really. Let me say this: a lot of great growers don't share the same passion that winemakers have. They're all about getting paid, putting food on the table with their family, and many love wine, but most of them love money, or they love money to come in regularly. And I think a lot of winemakers forget that. So that's, I think it's a cultural thing in the sense that we sort of often forget about the human side to the wine business. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's an interesting point, actually, because you talk about longevity, I guess, is what you're talking about, and what is it that others could learn? Other people in other business could learn from a winemaker that's so used to playing the long game. What could you impart onto those people that are always let's go right now?
You mean generations coming through now, or those that are already
just people in business in general? You have such longevity, and you're thinking many years ahead. So for someone that's wanting instant gratification, what kind of advice could you give to those people?
Today's episode is sponsored by us, Kyron Audio and Deverson Design.
At Kyron, we enrich people's lives with music systems that create lifelike three-dimensional images that evoke real emotional responses and allow true connection to recorded music. With our strategic partners, we can help you create the ultimate environment to enjoy your Kyron music system. From interior design guidance through to an entire bespoke listening room, we can assist you to bring your dream to life. Life is better with music, and music is better with Kyron.
Deverson Design creates luxury garage environments for the discerning automotive collector, preserving your collection in surroundings that are more gallery than garage, and so enhancing the value of your enjoyment. With projects across Australia and Europe, Deverson Design provides design services worldwide. Truly bespoke garages start with inspiring designs. Let Deverson Design inspire you.
To get in touch with one of our principals directly, visit our website, kyronaudio.com.au or deversondesign.com.au to book a consultation.
And now on with the show.
Do something else. That's probably my view.
Yeah.
Do something else. Look, the wine industry, in its purest form, which I guess I'm part of that, I hope anyway. It's a magical place, and it's all about creating something. And smaller winemakers like myself have seen that. You've seen that progression from basically a product, a commodity, to this in the glass we see today. This wine here was 10 years old. Drinking beautifully. It's holding up beautifully. And so that's the beauty about being. And I think when I studied winemaking, I came to a fork in the road. I thought, what do? Do I try and be a corporate guy and come up through the corporate ranks and be well schooled and everything, or do I try and be a bit more in tune with Mother Nature, a bit more in tune with what I'm growing, what I have to work with? And I chose that latter path. And so, but then having said that, having done that, opens up a lot of ticklish things like cash flows and problem, because your dream may take a long time for others to realise it. And my God, I remember I started back in the brand. I started in '97, as you said. 97 was probably okay. It's on the way down from a pretty dark period some years earlier. But all of a sudden, in probably 99, 2000, the American market for Aussie wines took off. So I was in a very good place there because I knew a couple of American guys. But luck always has a hand in winemaking. And not to jump the question, but just to fast forward a moment, this is a true story. I was in my kitchen thinking, God, I've just made 3,000 dozen wines. Where are they going to go? I've got a few bills that are pressing. I was about 30 at the time. After my sixth cup of coffee, I get a phone call. The guy goes, "Hey, Calvin." "Yes, who's this?" "It's Peter Wygant." I said, "Right, Peter, hello. I'm just passing by. Can I come and see you?" Thinking, "Yeah, why not? Come in." And knock on the door. He came in my kitchen. We had a coffee on over the kitchen bench, and this guy was, my God, quite a well-known American importer. He lived in Pennsylvania. He was probably back then late 50s. He was a real francophile into European wines. He had a business called Wygant Metzler. His wife being Marie Metzler. That was the name, the two families together. And we had 2 hours there on the bench having a chat. He said, "I love what you're doing. I love fresh talent." So this is going back to 90, it was probably 98 or it would have been. So not long after my first bottling was done. And also I was getting a bit concerned about cash flow. I've got to make some money here, guys. "Dad, what do you reckon? Got any spare change?" But this guy, look, I'll tell you what he said. "I will be in touch with you in 1 week." I thought, yeah, sure, mate.
Yeah.
But got a fax. Back then, faxes were all the thing. Got a fax on my old compact fax. And Kevin, loved our time together. Loved our time. "I am going to order from you 2,000 dozen.
Wow.
2,000 dozen. I'm going to forward you half the money now and half when I ship in 3 months' time." Who would have thought that would happen? Like you met a week earlier, who trusted me enough, who felt the vibe was strong enough.
Yeah.
That,
So your fairy godmother's turned up.
Pretty much. And we had a long relationship, probably 15 years.
Yeah.
And I love the guy. We'd catch up, go to America once a year. He lived in a 400-year-old French 4-story old mill house where the mill still worked. We'd sit there at night, the fireflies are dancing on the trees, and it was just
amazing.
A really good time to be in the wine game.
Yeah.
And America, you could do no wrong. No wrong you could do. And the problem I had was, again, cash flow. And you get a bit greedy. So I started to grow, and I started pre-selling wine. And I was pre-selling in a year's wine in advance because I was growing so quickly. We bought a second range under Kilikanoon called the Settlers Shiraz, and then I brought out a wine called the Mulga Tree. They were pretty cool, iconic Aussie names.
Yeah.
Then I had another product I brought out called the Lackey, had a pair of old boots on the front label. And I was ticking, it was going well, but I just started digging a bit of a hole because, again, I'm getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And this is the words of my ex-lecturer ringing in my ears. "You should have studied accountancy, mate." And it's so true. Or rather, perhaps the economics could be.
Well, maybe a weekend course in accountancy.
Probably.
Because if at the end of the day, if you don't have you've obviously had a product. The man's not knocked on your door and drunk your wine and come back and said, "I'm going to order 2,000 dozen," because he thought that you were a nice guy. And this might go. So he ordered it because, despite the fact you're a nice guy, he still ordered the wine because the wine was great wine.
Yep.
So obviously you're focusing on your craft instead of on the business side of it. You're selling your product rather than being good at selling someone else's product.
No, 100%.
So,
yeah, and also I think this guy being that real Europhile, he was a real French, Austrian guy, Italian wine guy, and he had a business that was going very well. He's a very successful guy. Go there once every 6 or 7 weeks, always churning over back and forth. But he thought Aussie wines was something new, and at that point there was a guy called Robert Parker. You might have heard of him, very well known. Like, this guy was God. He was just so relevant. He cut his teeth in judging the great wines of Bordeaux. And back, as you probably know, Bordeaux wines, a lot of them are sold in futures. They're pre-sold, year 2, 3 ahead. So he can make or break a season by how he rates them. And then, the numbers were staggering. I mean, if he wrote up the Bordeaux as an entrepreneur in a year and loved it, giving it 96, 97s and above, that could add hundreds of millions of dollars to the bottom line of wineries in Bordeaux, let alone Burgundy, that sort of bounced off that as well. Yeah. So this guy was all of a sudden in tune with Australia. And old Bob went to school, or went to uni, I think, with Wygant, because Wygant was actually a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a patent attorney. He gave it, a bit like James Halliday, gave it all up to study wine.
Mm-hmm.
He gave the law up, basically. And this guy that, Bob Parker, was also a lawyer, had studied the same law degree place as Pete had, so they had a bit of a connection going, similar age. And so just through him knowing Parker, and Parker having a real, quite late in the piece, penchant for Aussie wines, the thing started to really get some gravity. And my goodness, and back then, me would critique this, but a lot of winemakers were showing him wines out of barrel. Wow. So we'd go there, and we meet in this place in Baltimore, Maryland. There's a pub called the Oregon Grill. When we go in July, it was hot and humid, and this guy, Mark, who was the som there, he'd pre-cool the room. We'd come in the highway from the Jersey Turnpike, and we'd end up there at 11 in the morning, and Bob came in out, and I tried every wine of 70 bottles. I was half cut.
You would think so.
Oh, I was giggling like an idiot. But hell, it paid off. And yeah, we only drank Kilikanoon Wines, and we had a big lunch after. And Bob Parker, he paid for the steak, the big strip steak, because I can't take any money. I can't be accused of any sort of bias through. Yeah. So he had to keep it very clean. So he paid. Yeah. And I'd then sleep in the car for 3 hours out in the car park, completely blind. Hey, but what a day! Yeah, did that 10 years in a row. Jeez. And because of that, because of that market cultivation, because of that connection we had with Parker through Wygant, it was a match made in heaven. We were just selling a lot of booze.
Right. What ended that relationship after the 10 years?
Well, it's quite an interesting story because that sort of meanders along. But in about 2003, I was thinking I need funds to make this work. I really need some capital, And again,
sorry, get back. We're in Kilikanoon now. We're in Kilikanoon.
Yeah, that started in 97. Okay. So 98 was the first release.
All right. So we've sort of got the idea of why you've started the business. Now we're in the middle of it, which is going to lead up to the second part of the question. So we've talked about the heritage of your business and the culture and the passion of it.
Yeah.
So now the business part of it. Where is that going now then? At that point, where are we up to?
Well, I was sort of looking around for some, how do I grow it with other money? How can I do this better? And I thought, clearly my limitations were probably a little bit that I wasn't great with commerce. It wasn't really my main objective. So if I can find a bloke with some money that knows business, that'd be a great thing. And so, as you know, as often is life, we met a bloke in the pub. True story. We met a guy who'd moved in. A bloke from Sydney came in, and he was the floor manager, or the prop manager for the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. That was his day job, a bloke called Richard. He was a passionate wine man. That was his spare time. About 10 or 12 years older than me. And he came in, he said, he used to always go with his one eye closed to go, "Come on." I think he was Canadian, but he'd been here for a long time. I like what you're doing. And I thought, thanks, mate. Appreciate your thoughts. Thank you for that. I think it's your shout, Richard, now, blah, blah. He said to me, I know some people that might be interested in having a chat to you. I said, okay, well, who are they? Thinking, sure, yeah. But as luck would have it, they were actually really cool guys. These guys are 20 years older than me. They blew in, and there were three of them, Nathan, John, and Bruce. Now, Nathan was, at that time, Sydney Symphony's principal cellist. He knew everyone. Had been or was, at that point, still a Channel 2 ABC director. He's actually married to Kim Williams' sister, would you believe? Candace. It's a really small world, so you know.
Crazy. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you if you know any of these names from the
No, before my time,
Yeah, and Johnny Harding was a gay fellow, but the most amazing guy. This guy was just out there, and he was one of Australia's leading conductors and violinists, concert masters. And so there came this whole, we sort of ended up with this joint forces of music and wine, and it became a really good marriage. People loved it. Nathan would go to an event when he had time. He had a 400-year-old cello, which he'd pull out of his, like this under lock and key. Yeah, that'd be the hero act. Wine would come second.
Yep.
Bruce, as luck would have it, was a property guy. He started a business called Domain Properties. He then sold out to Mirvac for a lot of money. And so there's also had a bit of money, had a bit of love, had a bit of wine knowledge, had a lot of passion. And it wasn't just money, it was all about the passion. So I guess I lucked in. I found guys that were really not just after a buck, they were actually after they want to extend their own passion for a product, as in wine, If it made a bit of money, that's good, but it didn't matter that much early on. And so obviously, armed with that cash, armed with that love of what we're doing as a common thing, our US sales really took off. And I reckon I was selling 90% of production to the US within 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
On the back of good distribution, on the back of obviously having money to buy the best oak, to buy the best fruit.
Yeah.
We bought a couple of really good vineyards in Clare that were very old fruited, some old Grenache, some old Shiraz. But they all sort of benchmark and dovetail beautifully into my dad's old vineyard, which we'd bought as well. So Dad's vineyard here, the Mort, the Oracle vineyard, they were all vineyards that we bought that came into the mix of the company. So we had some really good years there where things went really well. Probably things went as they were until probably 11, I'd say, when the GFC hit. And that was a very tough time. Again, that's cyclic, and the industry's often prone to.
Yeah.
But it was just terrible. Again, all of a sudden price became everything.
Race to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, our top end was going okay, but the middle range was suffering.
Yeah.
We bought a whole new raft of middle products that were there to sort of, really introduce those to our high products. We had like a second tier range called Kilmer's Run, $20 a bottle. That's fine. That'll just tick over. Discounting was starting to become commonplace. You still wanted Dan's.
Yep.
30% off.
Yeah.
So that was
not a lot of margin left.
Yeah.
And I suppose at that time
really
we were very close to parity in 2011. I think it was
the
it was
American
around there where we're just over.
Yeah.
I think we got to about 101 or 102.
I think you're right.
And I remember buying things in from the US thinking, it's like being given away for free.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
And
it's all right, the opposite way around, unless you're selling out.
Correct. That's right.
What that really did, though, was kill our manufacturing.
Oh, yeah.
Killed our engineering. So we had that for about a year.
You mentioned the American market. Do you think that was the perfect match for someone, like with a new brand? Are the Americans more open-minded? I mean, because a lot of people come in wanting, heritage in a wine company.
Again, there are always those that lead the way. I mean, you've got mags like Spectator, you've got mags like The Advocate, which was Parker's, you've got mags like The One Enthusiast. These are all picking up on Aussie wine. So there's just a collective interest in Australian wine, what we were doing. And that sort of started back in 99, 98 maybe even, and it just powered through. But when we got to 2010, all of a sudden we're on the nose. All of a sudden the wines all tasted the same. According to the gurus, there was a real rebuttal, a real pushback against Aussie wine. It was quite dramatic. And a lot of guys said, whoa. A lot of guys dropped the US market entirely after being in there, boots and all, for 10 years, 12 years before.
So why was that? Was that a pushback? Was that a coordinated attack on the Australian wine by the US 100%. Wine industry?
Yeah, many would blame Parker for liking wines of a certain style. Yeah, the wines are quite alcohol. They're quite boozy, amazing colour, velvet texture.
Yeah.
But they're sort of wines of a period. And, of course, all the somms that often looked at the old world for simulation and where to go, they started to not stock Aussie wine. Oh, they're all the same. What would Parker know? Blah, blah, blah. So we're all quite shocked and shattered as to how this happened so quickly.
What a power, though. Like one guy's stroke of a pen. So you reckon it mostly centred around him. He killed the Australian industry.
We didn't kill it. Well, he ignited it. But then as that decade went on, there were those around him, like the Soms, that would have, on every ear would have hung on, started to question him. Hang these wines, do they actually age? We had them now for 8 or 9 years. A lot of them are falling over. And I'm not mentioning brands, I'm not mentioning regions, but certain areas that are warmer that made a mozza out of making these big, luscious, layered, chocolatey products. All of a sudden they go, hang on, this wine's off. This wine's out of whack. It's got a cork in it. They just didn't know. They didn't know. It's a higher pH, lower acidity. Yeah, they're made to be impressive, as young wines.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem, because if you're a sommelier, you want to put on wines that are older.
Right.
It's part of the repertoire. You want wines that are going to look their best in 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
People want to drink old wines.
Yeah.
They love it,
Yeah.
It's just that you're capturing a moment of yesteryear.
It's a time machine.
If I gave you a grain that's 2 years old, you'd be going, what? What is this? I mean, so there was 5 years. So,
that's what we've done tonight. You've brought in some nice wines for us. And we're drinking a 2015 10-year-old Riesling now.
Indeed.
And you gave us a choice when we went for the older wine. I mean, that's impressive. We're drinking that at 10 years old. It's really a beautiful wine. So that heritage value that it really appeals to it, especially if we're spending a little bit more. We want something that has some depth and character. That's not just with wine; it's with anything. The design industry is what we're doing. There's always a fight between the different designs, whether you want something with a traditional styling or we want something ultra modern.
Right, and
Very, very
like I said, it
different
flip flops,
people
right?
talk to.
People's minds change when all of a sudden, they want the Victorian house versus the modern house.
That's
So
right,
it just
100%.
depends. Yeah.
And that's the influencer who's really doing that.
But look, yeah, people are quite fickle. Consumers are very fickle. I mean, but generally people get on board. I mean, there's generally if something happens that creates a new wave of interest, and sommeliers are often at the vanguard of that because that's the thing that they research things and they travel. They a lot of them do West course, a lot of them do MWs or whatever. So these guys are really out and about, seeing what's happening and what's hot and what's the next best thing. And I think again, and set against that thought, the fact that these wines that were so impressive, so awarded by guys like Parker only 8-9 years earlier, were not looking good. They were falling over.
Yep.
And so that was a problem. I mean, if you're recommending a wine to a punter, hello sir, is it? And this wine's like a chocolate cake. It's just completely gone. It's gone brown.
Yep.
Because the pH is so high. As you know, the higher the pH, the more the colour is transient.
Yep.
So whereas fresher wines that are picked earlier have lower pHs, higher acid, and they last a lot longer in their natural state. So that's basic technology, basic tech.
Okay. All right, so we're talking about the bad times. What did you do to combat that? How did you?
I was interested. What was the pivot?
What was the solution?
Well, I think all the guys that I had, they got a bit jack of propping place up. So we had to really look at what's the guy saying. We had to start washing our face. That's the new term. That's a new term to me. We're going to wash our face. What do you mean wash your face? Basically,
Mine's been grubby for years.
That's right. Anyhow, so we thought, we've just got to clear some wine, move stuff through. We had a fellow in Canberra who was a good buyer of our wine. He bought a lot of stuff cheap, but it was sold on a different brand, so it wasn't damaging. We cleared some of the decks, probably around 20, probably year 11 was a terrible year. Year 11, basically all the reds were rotten. It rained during harvest. That fixed that problem for us, no problem. They're gone. So no need to buy barrels. It's been sent back. And then, of course, 12 was the best year since 2002. It was just an amazing year.
Yep.
There's an old saying, Claire, the best years are always, or most often, the even years. And it's true, they generally are. 2010, 2004, 2012. The best year in my career was 02, was just the best year since sliced bread. Everything went right. I entered the Clare Show for the second time, won every trophy. Every one.
Right.
All 8 of them.
Right. But obviously it wasn't perfect for everyone else. It was perfect for you because you won all the trophies.
Well, that's right. But
so we're talking to the man who came first, and
correct,
as opposed to all the losers. So
yeah, but they weren't losers. I mean, they were guys that were just behind me. So this all of Christian degrees, not it was like chalk and cheese, but
sure. Yeah.
We had a massive jump forward to 2012. Yep. We just coming out of this horrible GFC. And the 12 gave us that ammunition to go forward. White became back in vogue again. Riesling in 2012 was just amazing. A cooler vintage, hardly any rain, dry, powdery, natural acid.
Yep. And
we had a massive tour of Australia with Halliday, like a big gang of us. Went to Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. We basically went to the public, took our wares to the public, and they loved it. And so Claire's back in vogue again. And reds started to creep back up. But again, a different style was applied, and there was generally a lighter style of red. And because Claire was elevated, Claire has the ability to do that. Whereas Barossa is a bit lower. Eden Valley and Clare are similar, but the Barossa Valley are a lot more, it's a riper, warmer area. But so Claire, we had the skills and the ability to make wines that were more in what people were looking for. Again, sommeliers lead the way. We followed their sort of thinking. We didn't throw the baby with the bathwater, though, because Kilikanoon's always made reds that are bigger and juicier and strongly backboned. You don't want to muck up your legacy. So we kept that in check, but a little bit of tweaking, fine-tuning was done. We also embraced screw cap across the board in 2010. All reds under screw cap. We'd gone to whites in screw cap 01, a few cheaper products in 03, but by 2010, everything was a screw cap, and that made a big difference. The wines they lasted longer.
Yep.
They held their free sulphur better. They looked better on the bench, a lot better with colour. So again, tech, Marketing, it all came together in sort of 10, 11, 12. But after a very dark period, I mean, a lot of guys
So how do you keep it?
went broke in the mid sort of 2000s.
Yeah, right. That was going to be my question. So how do you remain that discipline where you know this is cyclical? Are you banking a bunch of cash off of a couple of good years, going, well, we might have to change course to another varietal, or are you just like, hey, this is great, and then you worry about it afterwards when it hits?
I mean, are we banking cash? No, not really. I mean, there was obviously, look, if you look at your product range, you've got probably, let's say, 20 wines, okay?
Yeah.
Over 3 tiers. The top 1 tier, 2 tiers are doing very well because, you're making good margin. You're making 80, 90%.
Yeah.
But we had an internal policy because we had another guy came in, a guy called David, who was a management accountant, very smart guy. He came in as their CFO. He was very good. And he said, look, these numbers we've got here, we must not drop below 40%. Now, what was that to do with? Something to do with you know more than me, guys. What does it mean, 40? I guess basically the margin, we had to make 40% on everything. That was the average.
Yeah.
Below that, the product's gone. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. And that caused a lot of arguments because that meant half the product could have been gone. But overall, that was a good discipline to have.
Wow.
It really applied
So the craftsman agreed with the accountant and went, you're right.
Yeah, that's right. We obviously pulled back on production, probably halved for a couple of years.
Wow, that's big of you guys.
Dumped some growers.
That would not have been easy.
Yeah.
We got a lot of our own growers. Sorry, a lot of our own vineyards, but we had some really good growers. We had to let them go. We couldn't pay for them. We said, look, we can't make it work. Sorry.
Yeah.
Everything's going up. Bottling's going up. Power's going up. There's a real piece of a lot of things became very relevant to the business model.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, cycles are what they are. But and the other thing which is interesting is that Claire's always been so reliable. There's never a problem. You might get one bad year in 30. Start getting the odd weird year, like you get a frost, you lose half your product, or you might get like in 11 we had a massive rain event. So it was weird. 17 was really wet and cold. So I think climate change started to become part of the problem, part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Which we'd never had before. You might get one bad year, whatever, move on. But now every year going, what this year's going to bring? And there's always this issue with like lack of rain during the winter period, which means you're prone to frost in low-lying areas. Yeah, so and as things did get better, if you start losing crop, you're having to then deal more with growers, so it's costing the bottom line as well. So, yes, it's been a difficult period for the last 10 years.
So you said you had 1 in 30, up to what year?
Oh, look, I think
2017.
things were brilliant until about probably we had a shocker in 2008.
Yep.
But honestly, I'd say the last probably, well, since I began in 97, 98, good years. 2000 we had a hailstorm that was very localised, so. Great years. The worst year was probably 11. So we had 12, 13 years of goodness. We had 11 was a shocker. Then another 10 year good years.
Yep.
So probably until I reckon over the last 10 years. I reckon out of the last 10 years, 4 of the hottest years ever have been in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's the number,
right.
which is pretty damn near really.
Yep.
So 4 out of 10 are the last 10 years. That's had a bit of impact. We've had issues this year. We've had dry springs in 99. Sorry, not 99, sorry, 2019. Another dry spring in 2020. Impacted heavily 21 vintage. Impacted heavily 2020 vintage. Crops were half in Clare. The 20 harvest, the 21 harvest were half the average. We dropped back to about 14,000 tonne, which is half the average for 2 years in a row. The last 2 years have been drought, the last 2 years. Clare's had its half the rainfall the last, I think, twice in the last 2 years. So all these things are coming into it.
So if that's the new norm, what do you do?
Very good question. That's why I moved to Aldgate, I reckon. We were at Rainstown here. I moved here 7 years ago, so that's probably half the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, look, I mean, we've not been live enough to really know, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you only know what you experience, and that's
Yeah.
no question that in the last 12, 15 years it's been tough.
Yep.
And is that going to continue? Probably. I think there's issues like this all the time. This year, this year was a drought until 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And now we've got record rain for July. It's weird, isn't it?
So what does the market do? Does it go, we need to just build we're going to make less and we're going to just make more of a premium product? Is that kind of the way that?
Well, I mean, again, it's going to rely heavily on management, how good you are at bringing the best out of your vineyard and basically bomb-proofing it. Things like if frost becomes an issue, low-lying vineyards may have to be pulled out. They become too hit and miss. Or if you're corporate, you spend millions on fans. And if you go through on the way to Newry, the Penfolds guys got a massive undercover vineyard. I think it's for Hale. I think it's about 10 hectares.
Goodness.
Who can afford that? But it must be a vineyard of such value to their brand.
Stone fruit growers.
We have to do it.
So
It's the stone fruit industry. You're talking about apples and pears as well.
That's right, 100%.
So they're covering everything.
who has the advantage? Is it the large corporates or is it the nimble niche brand?
Well, it's a good question. I don't really know. I think, the big corporates, they keep cannibalising themselves. We've just seen Accolade now, of course, by another name. I can't think what they're called now, but they've doubled their footprint, I think, as well. Mm-hmm. There's now another purge of winemakers and viticulturists being kicked out the door now. Is that now they're 6 to 12 months in? Look, I think guys like, I can't mention names, obviously, it's not,
sure.
not but I can, I guess, if those are doing well, and I mean, Penfolds are doing very well. That's a busy brand, Yeah. They're buying,
but there's big diversity as well.
100%.
They're buying from everywhere. If it's not good this year, they'll get something from over here. So
and
they can diversify.
Global brand.
Yeah.
They got stuff out of. My brother works for them. He's buying Malbec out of Argentina. He's buying.
Oh, right.
They've supported a vineyard in Paso Robles for $1.3 billion.
Right.
Last month, $1.3 billion. It's the biggest, I think, expensive sale of vineyard ever.
Wow.
That's part of the Penfolds group. They're making wine out of. As you know, there was a ban on Aussie wine for a while in China. So they start making booze out of California. Start making wines out of Argentina. So they make wines out of France. So they've become a big global player now. Obviously, very well run. They can see.
So how is that affecting then the small niche grower? What used to be a normal size grower, but now your traditional normal size growers are probably relatively only niche small vineyards now.
You're talking grower or winery?
Oh, sorry, winery. So how do you combat that? Is it to remain true to your craft, exactly what you started out doing, be the very best at what you do, and now reading about your story, reading about your success and what you've done, you've embraced the environment, you've embraced the land, and you're making wines. Is that the best way to describe it? You're growing and cultivating based on your understanding of the terra. Well,
I guess as things tighten up, as things have become harder, cost of living and all those things we hear about, it's good to remember that wine is not required to live a good life. You don't need wine. Wine's what's the word? Wine is a discretionary purchase. And frankly, could I live on a cask wine by bonfire? Probably, if I had to. I could live on fat bangers and a cask of wine, as long as the fire was warm. The fire's the most important thing, not the other. Others make it.
I think all of us on the way up have embraced the cask.
We've all got.
It's a free pillow.
Yeah. There's either a cask or a
blow it up. Yeah, that's right. True. Yeah, we've all got gassed on.
And before the Chateau Collapso, we were into I won't say the brand, but we were into the flagons as well. So they were very early.
My first job was actually in the Vale, and that producer was an old family company that made a lot of flagons. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Looked like a Volvo.
Yep. Yes, there's a crown involved somewhere.
Correct. But look,
it's actually I think there was $2 go down and fill up your flagon for $1 or $2, and that was fantastic.
You're talking the big D. Yeah. Well, there was a guy there, Johnny Ward, who he's been there, I think, for 35 years in the warehouse. You might know.
Oh, right.
Everyone knows him. I think he's just retired, but he was there for pretty much all his adult life.
Yeah, right.
Running the bottling line and taking care of the warehouse. Great fella. But there he goes. Yeah. So, but back to your question. As I said in my earlier comments, I mean, clearly, as things have tightened up, the big guys can probably they can manoeuvre things around. They can use pricing and things like that. To generate or lift sales for a period of time anyway. Clearly, the little guys that are doing well, as I said before, have a strong DTC format. That keeps them going.
DTC?
Yeah. Direct to consumer, And if you spend 20 years cultivating that, then you're probably doing okay.
Yep.
You know, you've got a place where you've got wine clubs where guys are committed to it.
Yep.
You know, like guys are buying, 3-4 dozen a year. You got their credit card, you just bill them and send them one of them. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So it's a
Subscription
it's a great model.
Subscription models are just
very much so.
everything these days, aren't they? Is that driven by the younger people coming into the business? Because I would imagine a lot of these wineries are, older, people operating it. Is it the young people that are pushing these new pathways to market?
Well, yes and no. I mean, looking at Kilikanoon, Kilikanoon was what's the acronym? I think our market was always 45 year old white guys and above. That was their market. They're light red meat. So you can sell Oracle $100 a bottle. You sell wines like Covenant, sold at Block Straight Cabernet. These all went to men, blokes that were generally over 40, over 45 that loved meat, had discretionary income. They liked to live well. And they'd go trawling through clear valleys once every couple of months and buy booze by the bootload.
And we'd either do it once a fortnight or once a month. And if you're in a if you're in a special club, as we are, the Beefsteak and Burgundy Club, there's a shot for the club. Then that's the celebration. It's the celebration of the good life, of enjoying. As we got older, a little bit wiser about how much we actually consume. We're probably putting a little bit more effort into having the fewer experiences, but the better experiences, having the higher reds and having the higher wines and having a really good quality time, probably a little bit less often. So recently we've seen the state government have a big campaign against alcohol. And
on buses.
On buses. And what is the sample that they've used to say you shouldn't do this because this is terrible for you? A glass of red wine. How's that affected you?
I have no idea. I mean, do you think people would have laughed at that? Would they have gone, oh, my God, I must stop drinking. This is terrible. I think it might affect a few, but on the whole, I mean, look, I think it might affect perhaps the younger people that might, but they're probably not buying Woodvale wines anyway. They're probably buying, the biggest challenge we have now is to bring guys back to wine again. We're losing them. We're losing other things like spirits or for that matter, other things which we can't really talk about because it's illegal. So, really, I think young guys are living in a much faster paced universe. They're moving around. They don't probably have the time or the desire to sit around like we are having a glass and a good old chat and maybe a meal. So I think that market is the biggest risk to people like Kilikanoon and Woodvale, I reckon, are the older guys whose cellars are full.
45 minutes. Okay. That's
keep
fine.
going?
Yep, keep going.
Yeah, a lot of guys in their 70s go, Kevin, I love it, but cellar's full. I'll be dead before I drink it all. And this is a problem. A lot of guys are starting to reassess their cellar. A lot of guys are starting to downsize their home.
Wow.
And you hear that story quite often, actually, which is a problem.
And there's cultural pressure to sell the big home once you move out, to make way for younger families to take up your house, and you've got to go live in a 4x2 somewhere.
That's right.
All right, so that then prompts the question, there's an obvious market then, because you've just said that older guys with the big sellers are saying, I've got to downsize, I'll never drink it all.
Yep.
So the obvious answer to that is, well, your investment is a great legacy to leave to your family, whether they take it on and continue it or whether they simply sell it once you've gone. So do you then market to people like us, to anyone who's collecting, and say, continue to build it, enjoy a little bit of it, but keep your legacy and sell and so that you're leaving your legacy to your family? Is that a solution?
Well, I'd like to think so, but I mean, I guess we're all different. I mean, some older guys that I've met, or for that matter, older women that I've met, who've been real, NFLs, love wine, love the whole part of it. Yeah. They've loved the connection with a winery of the many years, and there's been that toing and froing, and you just that love of what they're doing, and that just that connection. It becomes almost like your second family, knowing a bloody winemaker.
Yeah.
That's why we have this show.
Correct. You've done very well. I mean, I think you struck a chord.
We have.
Yeah.
But, really, to generalise I'd find difficult. But I hear that all the time. And when they go home and go, oh, kids, gather around, I've got an idea. You can all bugger off. I'm going to sell it. It's all going to charity. I don't know. But you hear that quite a lot, that they've simply, they'll buy a little bit. They won't buy the dozens they bought in their 60s. Yeah, they're now 75, 77, 78. Yeah, they're not going to buy those cartons a month they would have, that they had.
It's going to go like vinyl records.
It is.
Everyone's going to sell them,
and
then regret it. I could have had X for $5.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
That's
and like classic cars too.
Yes, very much.
You said XA. I'm saying my XA Falcon Coupe that I should have kept, and I sold. But, anyway, I thought I was the king of the world. I got $900 for it.
You were the king of the world.
How long ago was that? Probably a long time.
That was in 90 or 91. But I paid a staggering $300 for it. So I did well. I made a.
Well, I used to have a HG Holden Ute, a V8 4-speed. It was a 71 model. And when I was 17, I've been trying to buy it back ever since.
Do you know where it is?
Alice Springs somewhere.
Right.
And I think the locals have got hold of it.
Right.
Because I tried.
It's probably full of bullet holes now.
Oh, look. I made a police said, mate, I'll find it for you. And he said, here it is. Here's the owner.
Yep.
Local Henry. When they see me, he goes, they've got it, mate. I said, really? You must have it. And then he sent me a photograph of it that a friend had it. And then he dropped out a cafe on the guy. Oh. So that was 10 years ago. So I'm pissed off because I want to get it back. Yeah. And it'd be buggered, but I just love to get it back.
Look, I think you need to do that. You need to do that. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a car guy. And I've got lots of projects that need to be done. We are digressing a bit.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to ask, what's the riskiest business decision you've made that's actually paid off?
Riskiest? Well, obviously getting partners involved, Kilikanoon, no question, getting guys in it, man. I thought, who are these guys? Can I rely? Can I trust them? I was probably a bit on the years. I was probably only early 30s. These are the right guys for me. Mm-hmm. And look, but I guess you have a feeling, you feel things inside. You feel that if they were bad or bad, I think I'd have enough intrinsicness to know that. So, we went headlong into this business partnership, and it worked really well. And
I mean, it is a risky thing, isn't it? I mean, once you start bringing in, so how many partners did you bring in?
Three.
Wow.
So one became four.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And of course, then I become a minority shareholder. Of course, that's a big thing too.
Yeah. Did it splinter? Did you find you were getting groups forming with four of you?
No.
Because 3 is a good number, but 4 it can.
Well, it's. I'll take your point, but not. Yeah. Well, again, because of the makeup of who they were.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce, he's a money guy. He's a big developer.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of money with millions of dollars. And the other two are a lot more because they're musical. They're a lot more esoteric, a lot more out and about. And John, John would, how do you think, darling? Oh, darling, you think so? Well, I'll bring to that. He was sort of out of it. He wasn't part of it. He went along.
Yeah.
But so he put his faith in Nathan because they were mates at school since they were 14.
Gotcha.
So really, it was a bit of a funny thing. But look, that's probably my biggest risk. And the saddest thing is, the saddest part about it all was it should have ended a lot better than it did because what happened was that Nathan's wife, Candace, had a car crash in Balmain, had a head-on.
Oh,
I think may have had an episode, we don't know, probably early 60s, and she hit her car head-on and ended up in a terrible state. Okay. She came back, but she's never the same again. And,
that's terrible.
And sadly, Nathan, who'd retired from the SSO, he lives in France. He lives just out of Tours in France. He's got a French chateau there.
So he was the principal cellist, is that what you're saying?
Correct. He spent years travelling Europe as a quartet, playing cello.
Okay.
He knows Europe, speaks French fluently.
What quartet was that?
God, I have no idea. He couldn't tell you. Some sort of private quartet, I'd say.
Okay.
But he bought a place probably for nothing in just out of 2 or 30-acre patch with its own church, buildings, stables, and of course the missing part of all this is we also got involved with Seventsville. That was something we did as well. We got into that through Kilikanoon.
Explain that.
Actually ended up being partners. We had partnered with Janet Holmes' Court in Seventsville. She owned a quarter, we owned a half. Wow. Who would have thought? Gee. The other quarter was owned by a guy called Greg Paramore.
Yep.
Murdoch.
You're moving in some circles.
Correct.
So this is a big transition for a guy who didn't really like working at the Commonwealth Bank as a teller to all of a sudden we're now talking about your circles.
Which bank, correct.
I don't think there are any witches there.
That was a slogan.
Some of them. It was.
Yeah.
So the big question I came in with was what motivated you to start Kilikanoon or start the business? And then what on earth made you sell? So that's probably the question now. Is was it a combination of too many chiefs in the kitchen that you thought time to go, or was it just what was the motivation for selling?
Just briefly, how did I start? Why did I start it? Because I came home to Clare once on a weekend. I used to work in the Riverland as a winemaker for a while, like Kingston State. I was out there for a while, in Romano as well for a while. And then I went to Orlando and mucked around for 6-7 years. And then I came back to Clare one weekend, see my parents and some mates, and a little place called Kilikanoon for sale on the side of the road. I thought, wow, look at this little cottage. I've looked at it for a long time from afar. I thought, how cool, 130 grand. How can I buy that? So I bought it, and it came with a really cool name.
Yeah.
A beautiful 1860s building, cellar door potential, which it was, still is today. So that's what I basically bought the name. And Kilikanoon is an old Cornish name, and it's supposed to mean, as they tell me, a nut grove on the down. That's the translation into old Cornish tongue, if you like.
A nut grove
on the down.
All my ancestors would have known.
They're Cornish. They're Cornish.
Yeah. West Country English.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Scottish. That's my background.
Yeah,
and a little bit of Irish.
Yeah,
but and a little bit of Polish too, for that matter. A bit of Polish.
There you go.
My great nana was Methotowicz or something like that. And they changed it to
So you've got all the angry heritage.
and
I can say that because of my Scottish heritage.
I can say that hate mail.
I can say that because of my Scottish heritage. It was two of my Scottish uncles that actually invented copper wire. Really? They both thought they found a penny, and they were arguing. Go, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine, and it's stretching and stretching.
I'm going to have to get a splash.
I know you do, but yes, it's my Scottish.
My dad's family, there were 3 brothers, and they all said, right, let's make a fortune. We'll see you guys in 5-10 years. And one went to Canada, one to US, one to Australia. That's obviously my great grandfather.
Yes.
He went to Melbourne.
The Commonwealth experience.
Yeah, very much so. Yes, that's right. Although America's not part of the Commonwealth.
No, of course, no, sorry.
Yeah. But look, back to your second part of the question that you asked about why did I leave?
Yep.
Well, again, because of this sad accident which occurred with Nathan's wife.
Right.
He said, look, I've got to become her carer. I can't travel the world. He said became like a roving cello playing ambassador. Did a great job. You go to Canada, they'd love him. Still wine, play cello. So look, I've got to look after it. I can't be away for weeks and weeks. So we thought, what do we do? So he said, well, look, I'm going to sell my shares. And he'd spoken some years earlier, I think he and Bruce had, to a Chinese company that they'd kept in touch with. And naturally, like all shareholders, you get the right to buy them out. You can't. You've got the right to buy your shares out for your parts.
Yep.
But we really couldn't afford to. We didn't really want to. Things were, And so we had to agree, of course, that these people were okay. And in the end, they came in, bought his shares and bought everyone else's shares as well. Over a 2-3 year period, he's bought more and more and more. I think once we all realised we're all minors, the Chinese are in charge, why would you want to stay? That's really how I'd see it. So, and my shares had dilution over the years because of the constant grind of finding money.
Yeah.
A lot of money came through our own pockets, and I'm only working really. I'm only getting paid what I'm getting paid as a contract winemaker, other than dividends from the company. And so so it all sort of came to an end, and I hung on 2 more years with the Chinese. I was under a contract to be a winemaker. That expired in 2023. So here I am now, out of it.
Was it a happy ending, or was it a bit of a fizzle?
I think it was sad for me in a way. It's sad to see what you've spent a lot of time building.
Yeah.
But look, I'm afraid that, again, I'm challenging Marquides here, but not being an accountant. such a great thing to say too.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, guys, once you lose control, once you lose majority share, you're at the mercy of the market, of the partnership, of your brethren.
Yeah. Do you regret selling your shares? I mean, as a business owner, you get approached, for it, buy into it. Should I get an investor?
No, look, I don't, because if I hadn't, I probably would be here, because it was I came through some pretty dark periods of the market. But I've seen around the world many times. I've had a great time, really. I've seen wines and drank great wines. I've spent years traveling, I'll be away 3 months a year for years, just traveling. Go to Europe, go here. We used to make wine in France. We had a label in France.
Yep.
We did under Kilikanoon called Alliance or Alliance.
Right.
with a company called Carve a co-op, just out of in the Rhine Valley. Yeah, see, we were making wine out of Hermitage. We had our own brand.
Wow.
Until we realised that we'd copied someone's name. They said, we'll wind you up, so we had to stop doing it. I couldn't believe that. Monday morning, what is this rubbish? What's in letter?
Wow.
Dear sir.
Spam.
Cease and desist. Well, some Aussie names, they actually had trademarked the word alliance or alliance. God, I couldn't believe it. I said, what?
Yeah, but that's insurance. You're in wine. What's going on?
Sorry, mate, it's trademark. And you can't,
Wow.
The better you become, the more they want it back. That's the reality.
Jade, my before you get into the next question,
Yeah.
my glass is empty.
Oh,
Goodness.
right.
And
You're thinking.
I'm thinking.
So,
I'm waiting for a gear change actually because you try to
right.
fill up with some more of the wine.
okay,
but
so
I was
we've
keen
tried
to-
the 2015 Riesling. So then, why am I trying to introduce it?
I have no idea. I just be
Tell us all about it.
to the owner.
This is a Cabernet. We're now going to crack a 22 Woodvale Orchard Road Cabernet, it's called. Mm-hmm. Why is it called that, you may ask? Well, thanks for asking. It's
Why is it called that?
well, it's a very young boy. My dad's younger
How
brother.
far back are we going?
Well, I'm going probably back when I was 10 or 12.
Right.
And we lived in Auburn in the Clare Valley. But my grandparents on my dad's side lived in Penwitham, out in the back there in the sticks, on the Hughes Park Road. And Dad's younger brother is a winemaker. He's got Mitchell Wines. You might have heard of Mitchell Wines. Yeah. Penwitham.
Seeing it on the shelf next
There
to
you go.
yours,
There you
next
go.
to Woodvale.
So, and that probably was a place they bought in 49 when they came up from the southeast. And the place was an old orchard. A lot of the old quince trees, orange trees. We used to play as kids playing there, make cubbyhouse in the creek. Beautiful, great times.
Yeah.
And I always had this in my head, this idea of calling a Cabernet Orchard Road, And here we are. So it's the first wine I brought out back in, I think it was 14 under Woodvale, was Orchard Road Cabernet.
So
Memories
as you
as a young
open it,
boy.
we've got Woodvale. We've gone from Kilikanoon. Now we're telling everyone about Woodvale. What's that all about? Tell us about that whilst you're opening that up.
I was going to say before we do that, can we fill my glass?
Let me also get a couple of clean glasses.
Jeremy.
too.
Jeremy,
Mr. Producer, Jeremy, can you go and grab for us, please?
Couple of
3
glasses, please.
clean glasses out of the room next door. They are. Thank you.
Well, yeah. So Woodvale obviously is the name of a property we had in the Clare Valley, next to Mitchell's, right on the same route. So that's where it came from. Just a place that was, I think, bought off the government. Would have been like a land grant at some point back in 1860.
Right.
A guy called Mr. Wood, who was actually a jeweller, I believe, an Adelaide jeweller who had it
Right.
and sold it on to a guy called someone Coles. I've done the whole family thing here. And, I came along in maybe 2010, we bought it.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a great place. That'll be my little out clause for Kilikanoon. I'll be out of here.
Yeah.
I'll go next door, brilliant. And so, basically that's where it came from. So actually quite pedestrian, really.
So is Woodvale you're far too young to retire, but is Woodvale your retirement legacy project? Is that your passion project?
Well, yeah, I'm in a bit of a funny place, because we moved to Adelaide in 2018, and I was happy to come. My wife's had spent a week in Clare, wanted a career, blah blah. The youngest two were at boarding school. Well, one was going to go to boarding school, one was at boarding school. So they all moved to the hills. I've always loved the hills as a young bloke. Yeah. I had a girlfriend here when I was 19. She lived in Longwood. I always loved coming to the hills.
Yeah.
It took me back to the old days. Just the coolness of the hills. I loved it.
Yeah.
So here I am back in the hills, and I still realise that Clare's a long drive. Clare's a 2.25 hour drive from where I live.
Yeah.
And it's had an impact. It's put pressure on this business, the brand. When you got kids that are younger, obviously there's sport, there's stuff you can't be away for days at a time. Yeah. So really, the chance of my wife getting shitty with me, I probably should have bought a place in North Adelaide, like a townhouse of some sort, and just went back and forth, to Clare. I should have done that. That's probably my thinking, but didn't. So we really moved down here, boots and all, lock, stock, 4-acre block, sheep, cat, dog, you name it.
So a lifestyle like that, you're going to live longer.
Hopefully you're right.
It does. You can end up in.
I'm sure the wine helps as well.
I think so. And
Sure it does.
So I'm keeping you talking whilst you should be opening.
He'll get to it all in good time. How about you do it, Jad?
Don't rush me.
I want to see the expert.
Here's the
Here we
camera.
are.
You may have already answered this with Woodvale, I suppose, but if you were starting from scratch today,
Yep.
no name, no vineyard, and you've obviously got your knowledge. What do you do? I mean, it's a noisy market. How do you break through?
It's a very, very good question, I must say. Well done. God, I don't know. I mean, let's say I was a hills guy. Let's say I was born here, okay, and I had a passion for wine and wanted to make wine in the hills. Would I have found success as I did with Kilikanoon in the Clare Valley? Probably not, because Kilikanoon, again, it was a real moment in time. And I was lucky. I had 2 tough years of when I started, but then it went bang because it meant a guy got Peter Wygant. And who would have thought?
Yeah.
The guy gets passing through,
Yeah.
That's a real amazing story in itself, really.
You've had a couple of those, haven't you, really, in the career?
Yeah, I mean, there's fate played a hand along the way, and along that way, we really had a great time. The kids have been all around the world, so it's been really good for the family, good for for me, good for the business.
Yeah.
So we spend a month in France every year because we made this problem.
Wow. Well, my girls wouldn't kill for that.
We're living in a gîte. Owned by the Machon family. We have feasts there every night, dinners. Just amazing.
Yeah.
I take my father with me. He'd come along for a bit of a look.
That's a good
His dad's
life.
turned 85. He's getting on.
And he's still working in the vineyards? Is he still doing things?
He's had a few. He fell down the stairs at the back of the light didn't come on, the sensor light.
Oh,
he
right.
fell down 12 concrete stairs. Landed on his head, got up. Who was that? We're ready to kill someone. The sensor light didn't come on, so down he went. But there's no handle on this. Silly bugger. Anyway.
Is he okay?
His shoulders buggered. He's got a recon coming out.
Right.
Jeez.
85 recon, 85. But he said he can't lift his own above that. That's all he can do.
Right.
And my parents,
Funny, that's about the angle you need to drink a glass of wine.
he's a coke man.
Obviously.
And he'd weigh 10 stone. He's like a movie star. He's so vain. He's just so he's like a movie star. He's cut muscles,
No,
I've
I've seen pictures of him playing a guitar.
Correct. He's not a bad player. He plays obviously country music.
Yeah.
That's his issue there. But
Right.
okay,
Is he an Audie Murphy or is he a Slim Dusty?
Slim Dusty. 100%.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay. Storyteller.
Dinky died.
Yeah.
He's a Stan Costa, those sort of guys, Buddy Williams, those guys.
Yep. Okay.
You mentioned you've got 9 guitars. That's
I've got some bloody good guitars too, but I've just got to.
Yeah.
I've learnt guitar, God, probably 5 times. I just get so impatient. I don't know why. I'm my own worst enemy.
You're always asking questions about patience and being a winemaker. It's just like, I can't play the guitars.
This should be right in another 3 or 4 years. I can wait. Now, where's that guitar?
Well, my last purchase, the Gretsch Player Series, is a beautiful guitar, electric guitar, solid.
Yeah.
And mate, you want to play 3 chords?
Yeah.
I'm not doing
That's all you
guitar
need.
for sure.
3 chords and dream. And you're
That's
there.
right.
I'm pretty much the same with my bass guitar behind you. I played the trombone in high school and I switched over to the bass guitar. I thought, I'm going to be a rock star. Guess what? I draw pictures for it.
I'm going to make you play it one episode.
I'm probably desperate. I can play drums a little bit. I've got an electric drum kit at home.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty cool. That's like headphones on, you can beat the shit out of them.
Yeah, that's my...
I love drums.
Yeah, that's
They're really
my...
good.
That's
Now,
my
this
pressure
is
release valve is the electric drum kit.
This is the percussionist, the professional percussionist who played. Tell us where you played. What did you do? Come and tell us the story because it is a good story. Come on.
You're talking like an xylophone type thing? Well,
Yeah, anything you bash.
Canangles or
anything.
triangle.
Hit, scrape, bash.
shoes, harp, that sort of thing.
Anything. Literally anything. Yeah.
All the above.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not my interview.
Now, do you know what? This is a story. Every time we do this, I have to say that Tales on the Top is chats between mates.
Yeah, it's very true. It is true.
It's about listening to your story, our guest story, and understanding what's going on. But it's also about how we relate to a good storyteller and a good story told is one where everyone involved.
Well, if we're going to talk about music, I'm actually. I would love to chat to you a bit more about the music and wine experience. I mean, that's something that in my line of work I've researched any number of times. We've done many nights, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, 11 days, 12 days, 13 days, 14 days, 15 days, 16 days, 17 days, 18 days, 19 days, 20 days, 21 days, 22 days, 23 days, 24 days, 25 days, 26 days, 27 days, 28 days, 29 days, 30 days, 31 days, 32 days, 33 days, 34 days, 35 days, 36 days, 37 days, 38 days, 39 days, 40 days, 41 days, 42 days, 43 days, 44 days, 45 days, 46 days, 47 days, 48 days, 49 days, 50 days, 51 days, 52 days, 53 days, 54 days, 55 days, 56 days, 57 days, 58 days, 59 days, 60 days, 61 days, 62 days, with the last one we did was a guy that entertains all of the A-list musicians that come through Australia, and we did a match thing. So we, talk about his story, what happened with Madonna backstage, and then we would play some Madonna tracks and stuff like that. But we've done research, and there's some guys in the States that have legit white papers, that you can actually change the taste of wine to the betterment or detriment by like 15, 20% by what music that you play at the time. You can actually change the way that you perceive it. Is that something you've obviously had some experience in that space?
Oh, look, I think the money's so flying, more money involved.
Yeah.
Look, it's a bit like glassware. Glassware plays a big role too. Having a good wine glass is a big part of it too.
Yeah,
100%. So
yeah, I'm sorry about that.
You're probably right.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, you don't want to be. With my game, you don't want. You want to have a nice environment that you're sitting in. You don't want to be drinking. You don't want to be drinking Grange at McDonald's out of a plastic cup. It's all part of the experience.
Too. But look, I think your question. If you're sitting in some beautiful restaurant, some beautiful hall, with a guy that's a great cellist that's playing a 400-year-old instrument, the melody, the sound, the depth, the resonance, quite extreme. The wood is just the wood's everything. That's that real gives it that character. Yeah, I'm sure. And out of a good Riedel or a good shot glass, goodness me, if you took away the cello, took away the decent glass, the whole thing would collapse, the whole experience. Yeah. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, it's very true.
If you're bored, Google Nathan Wax. Google him. You get the whole rundown.
Yeah.
He's quite an accomplished fellow. He's really done everything.
Yeah.
He's his son is studying or was studying a doctorate of philosophy to a university in French. In French, would you mind? Who does that? Who does that?
Yeah.
The doctor of philosophy. Goodness me. Yeah. So he's obviously very smart.
Right.
Yeah.
His daughter Minna, she manages a Cuban dance troupe in Cuba. Right. She's all sort of weird dancing, and you've just gone in these amazing directions.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that's had such a cultural upbringing. He's been lived everywhere.
Yeah.
In France lived in. I think he's actually Russian Jewish. That's his background. So quite an amazing fellow.
It's one of the great things about the arts is you get the travel time as well. It's I was in the Defence Force as a musician for years, and I got to go to Gallipoli 3 times, and I never thought I'd ever go to Turkey. And it wasn't
as an observer, I like to have a look.
No, I was actually playing. So I'd marched on the Cattle Flight Party, those types of things, and we would play, all the commemorative music during ceremonies and stuff like that. But it gives you that opportunity to get overseas and see the world and things that you just, Turkey was literally never on my radar, and I just absolutely loved the place. Absolutely, it was stunning.
We had a brand. We had bought a product called Secret Places. It was a little thing on the side. We did a bit of fun. We did it with a company called Langmile, and we actually engaged as an art guy called John Olsen. Aussie.
Yeah. The Olsen hotels with the art. You're talking about the artist?
Yeah. Well, he did the label for us, So we got to meet him, and
amazing.
And we got to meet this guy called what's his name? Simon Mayer, who was the ex-husband of Gladys Knight.
Oh yeah,
he became a photographer.
Wow.
He came into photography shows. And all these guys we sort of meet along the way, and God, the stories I could tell you. Honestly, there's so much going on. We used to make wine for a Russian ice hockey star. Igor Laranov.
Yeah.
This guy went AWOL in America in 1990.
Right.
He obviously didn't return to the bus. He's just a runner. And he, through someone who we met someone who got to know us, and we started making this wine for this guy called Triple Overtime. So I'd go and meet him once a year in America. We'd been in LA. And I remember one day he said to me, keep your phone on. I've got something going on tonight. And I got that flow in.
Yeah.
And I think the phone went flat. He goes, next day, you idiot. What do you mean? He goes, we had a big party last night. You were my guest. Penelope Cruz was there.
Wow.
Oh, gosh, Kenny, what an idiot. What a wanker was I? This is bloody big gala Hollywood party. He was one of the guys there.
Okay, so we've recorded that, and we're going to actually bring that up next time we see you. Do you remember how much of a loser you were that night? We remember that
I think of that every day of my life. I wake up, that's right, Penelope Cruz. What was I thinking?
Could have met her.
I know. So this guy, and of course, he came and see us once in Clare. He came a couple of times. And he rolls in with 5 people, right, to the winery. Igor, Kevin, how are you, mate? How are you, Kevin? Good, mate. And this guy, his nickname was a professor because he was so fit. He's quite a small guy, probably 5'9", but this guy was a superstar.
Right.
And I said, how are you so fit? And yet, so Woody goes, you asked the question. Everyone asked the question. He said, because I got mates in the team that look after me. And they crack your skull if you come near me. I'd probably believe it.
Yeah.
And then he said, next year, Kevin, you'll come to Russia. I said, no, they're not. Why is that? This is well before the war.
Yeah.
He goes, we have massive show in Red Square. So what do you mean? He's been welcomed back by Russia. They were going to kill him, but they welcomed him back. He's such a famous guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He was earning millions for the Stanley Cup, playing for Detroit, Toronto, and blah, blah. So he's come back as a fate hero, Putin's right-hand man. They built a massive wooden grandstand with 10,000 people, the Russian All-Stars against the rest of the world. He was playing for Russian All-Stars. And I was his guest and I just didn't go. But I could have gone to that event and sat next to him in this bloody stand. We made his wine for him.
Wow.
He triple overtime. He got Lavranov. Incredible stuff, really.
Incredible.
Jeez.
So it sounds to me like
had a bit of fun.
This fella has gone from bank teller, frustrated.
Can I just say, thank God you didn't say at the bank.
Why mention that?
Yeah.
From bank teller to now. We need to know the name and the identity so that we can celebrate and sing his praises of your manager at the time, who encouraged you through the strength of the universe to direct your destiny. We need to celebrate him and say thank you very much for what he did to push you into the right direction, because you've come so far with such a very, very interesting story, with such interesting success. And look, I think there's a lot of interesting stories you can tell, more you can tell us about what you've actually achieved and how you could do it. So the wisdom that you can impart is really crucial. But I'd like to thank you for coming along tonight. Now, generally, there's one big question we ask everyone at the end.
Hit me with it.
And the big question is, now you need to hold on tight to your seat. What does success mean to you?
Well, I mean, can I ask how do you define success?
It's an open question. It's entirely yours.
Actually, if I ask the question, is how do you define success?
Look, I mean, it's a cliche, but I've got to say it, I think, because it's probably true, is that, I think success to me personally, and particularly as one gets older, this becomes more and more part of one's DNA and how you view the world. I'm trying to think how to put it in words. I think, I'm trying to think that making it sound a bit gooey.
Gooey's fine.
Yeah, I think. I've seen a lot of the world. I've been here, been there.
It's got to be the truth.
Done a few things
from the heart.
Yeah, I think you want to see your family do well, and I think as an older bloke now, late 50s, getting on a bit. I mean, I've got 4 kids. You want to see them do well. You want to. So I think, so my success as a parent, as a grandparent now, of course, is becoming more and more relevant to me. I think what I was chasing perhaps 20 years ago doesn't apply as much as it did back then. I think that's probably where I'd like to make my peace, I'd say. I think, and it's being grandparent, it's quite a weird thing. You think, wow, look at this. It's my flesh and blood. And what's that smell? Here, Sarah.
It's yours now.
But my goodness me, it's just so rewarding being at that level in your point of your life.
Yeah.
And, bringing kids up is not easy. So there's this constant hoo-ha that you got to deal with every day of the bloody week. Youngest 16, a little bugger he is, but I love him. But he's just he's hard work, And I remember as a young kid, he was a guy. He was always the naughty one. The first 3 were pretty good. The last one, they always leave the best for last.
I'm just looking at our producer, who is my youngest son.
There you go. Had we got more than one child?
I do. He's a naughty one.
It's not want to be wet. I think just I think trying to keep family intact, trying to keep family happy. You're trying to be there for them without mollycoddling them. I think it's a big part of getting older and finding happiness, I think, later in life.
Yeah.
Is that a fair comment, I think?
That's a fair comment.
I've never been really possessed with money. I think I like what money can do, like where money can take you. Mm-hmm. But sitting around counting money, no, that's not for me. I'm happy to I'd buy an old next day 2-door squeepy car like you used to have, rather have money in the bank, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, raising kids is bloody expensive. Kids cost a bomb to look after, bring up. Youngest are racing motocross, and it's
wow. Okay.
another new motor. Last weekend we got up at 4 o'clock on Sunday morning to take him down this one reach for an event. Why am I doing this? It's cold as buggery.
Yeah.
You can't just put the tent up, just,
Yeah.
happy now. Bloody hell. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it.
Yeah. Awesome.
It's what makes this, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Kevin, thank you so much for coming in. It has been a great pleasure to have you as a guest on our show, and we're very privileged. Your wines,
Stories.
I have to say, the Woodvale by Watervale is my wife's favourite, has been for a long time. So waiting for that next vintage because it's been out for a long time.
I'll be in touch.
That's good. I'll give you my credit card.
Yeah, you know a guy now. So
I know a guy who knows a guy. Some guy plays the cello.
Yeah, that's it.
So thank you so much. We would love to catch up with you again soon. But from us, thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun. Thanks,
Great.
guys. Appreciate it.
And to the listeners, I hope that you enjoyed that as much as we did. Thanks for listening to the show. And if you'd like to find out more about Kyron Audio or Deverson Design and how we can create bespoke luxury environments and experiences in your life, you are more than welcome to book a call with one of our principals through our websites, kyronaudio.com.au or deversondesign.com.au. Many thanks goes to our producer, Marcus Franks, and our editor, Jeremy Deverson. Make sure you hit subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next episode. Please take the time to leave us a comment, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Tales from the Top.